Guys, I didn't graduate college.
Damn. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. Really hype about it.
Proud of you.
Thanks. Okay. So, story time. I decided, so the original story was I graduated, I walked, whatever. Graduated. And I told my mom I didn't want to get the piece of paper because I wanted to tell a story for entrepreneurs, yada, yada. Turns out, yesterday, I get a text from the head of the psychology department at Central. And she told me, she was like, hey, you still need one more credit to graduate. I was very confused because I had already walked on graduation day. And I was like, what do you mean I didn't graduate? I just graduated. And she was like, no, you still need one credit. And I was like, what? Turns out, still need one more credit. And my first reaction, honest gut reaction, was I started dying laughing. Like, I literally started dying laughing. Yeah. And then I told my dad about it, and we had our conversations about it, whatever. But what I had realized was it was such a blessing. It is such a blessing because I didn't want to get the diploma. I didn't want to get the piece of paper because I wanted to tell a story to entrepreneurs that I did the 4 years, I went to college, I did the things that society's telling you should do. You should get a comfortable 9 to 5, and I'm not using it. And I did everything except for one credit. I can go take a shitty gym class and graduate. I'm not doing it because I want to show you that I'm using what actually mattered from that time. Because the things I can take with me are the things I learned about life, the things I learned about relationships, meeting you, starting a business, finding the podcast room, creating content, being around happy, positive people. These are the things that mattered, that I did take away, that grew me tremendously as an individual through that process. And you could see the end part of that journey from the beginning of our podcast, from the beginning of me making my content, and you can keep watching where this goes. But the sad part right now is that no one's with me. You're with me. It's pretty much just you and sort of my dad. Not even Alex, not even my close friends. They're all telling me, they're like, I don't understand. If you're one credit away, why don't you just graduate? On the surface, it makes sense. You have one more credit left. You can literally take a 1 hour a week gym class, go half-ass, get a D- and get your degree. I get it. But they don't get it. Because the point everyone keeps making is you have nothing to show for your 4 years. What makes you so ignorant to think that your 4 years in college was all for a piece of fucking paper? It's about the education, whatever that means. Not just classes, but your social relationships, learning to live on your own, being away from your family, learning how to interact with other people, learning how to develop self-discipline. These things are the things you actually take away from college, and everyone knows it. Yes, there are a good amount of professions that require you to go to college because you need that, because it actually maps. But if you're a fucking entrepreneur, you don't need it. There's no reason for you to do it. And I'm living proof of that. But what I want kids to start doing is, if you're 16, 17, 18, and you know that you are an entrepreneur, you have that entrepreneur vibe to you, don't go to college, but get those experiences. Go get an FHA loan and live with 3 guys in a different part of the country. Start a business. Start hustling. Start buying things on Facebook Marketplace for free and riding your bike out and getting them and then flipping it and making a couple grand to then start a business, to then do the things that are going to make you feel passionate about your fucking life. That's why I'm not getting the diploma. That's why I'm not getting that 1 credit. But people don't seem to understand the power of that. They're like, yeah, but I don't understand. It just seems so cool for you to graduate. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how can you say that? How can you say that? I'm like, you're not listening to the story. Yeah. I'm trying to help countless individuals, because if I had me saying this exact thing to that version of me, that 17, 18, 19-year-old version of me, I would have dropped out right away. And I didn't have that person. And my life could have been different. And I would have had 4 years of compounded interest on money, time, friends, influence, people, helping others, contributing to society. I would have had all this newfound time if someone had told me that when I was in that spot. So that's why I'm not getting the fucking piece of paper. And if you're going to sit there and pretend like you think it's a better idea for me to get the piece of paper so I can flex to others that I have a degree in psychological sciences, instead of helping numerous lives of young men and women that don't want to go in the modern education system and want to follow their passionate dreams that they have, whether it's entrepreneurship or whatever, and if you think that I should take the piece of paper over that, I have no words for you. I have no words for you. And to think that someone would still sit on the other side of that argument after this conversation, after me explaining my reason why, is ludicrous to me. But what's even crazier is that it's my close friends that disagree. Even after hearing this, I'm like, am I missing something? I got to be missing something here. The perfect example is Alex. Yeah, that's it. But yeah. Oof. Sorry. I think I'm so passionate about it because people.
I was even just about to say. I was like, I wonder if you're passionate about this.
The reason I'm so passionate about this is because so many people are against me on it,
man.
And I can't wait to be in the spot in 5, 10, 15 years when I look back and everyone looks at me like, what a legend for doing that. What a legend for doing that. But every motherfucker, I'm saving the text. I'm saving these conversations.
Good,
this is documented now. Yep. Alex and Mike, haha, I love you so much that I'm going to buy you everything you would ever want from me. And that's how much I love you. But I just want you to remember that so that you don't make the same mistake. And yes, it's a little bit of ego if I told you so. But the other part of it is I really fucking love these guys. A big part of the reason why I'm not getting a diploma is because I'm abiding by a philosophy that's going to help me help them eat. Help me help Mike buy this huge wardrobe of Man United jerseys that I'm going to pay for the second I have enough money to spend it on him. Because that's something I know would be a huge thing for him, like sentimentally. Or buying Alex a new car. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this philosophy is going to get you those things. Those things don't mean anything. They're fucking things. But they're a representation of I fucking love you guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Why do you think no one's with me on this? What is your thoughts? From a neutral perspective, because I'm so in it.
Well, okay. So, okay. Just to kind of give like a little drawback of what happened. So, the whole thing happened, I forget what time. I got back from golf, fucking sucked ass, shanking balls left and right, trying my new form. It was all right. I got a few decent shots.
Couple reps, you'll be good, though.
Well, good. Progress. Got to learn old bad habits, unlearn bad habits, to implement new ones. And I'm in that period where it's just, pain.
It's here. Now you're here.
But it's worth it in the long term, 100%. Anyways, yeah, man. So I got back from golf and I was just sitting on my bed. I think we were just texting back and forth about like the business or whatever. And you called me and you told me like, dude, you'll never believe it. You're like, I didn't graduate. And I'm like, what? And then you tell me the story, and I'm just like, yeah, baby, like, let's go. Like, I was like, and I could like,
right.
It was so weird because I think because you told me about because we had the conversation, and I was already of the understanding that you weren't going to pay for the degree, and like, I understood your reasoning why, and I agree with you, and I think that's why I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. And it's just like, oh my God, yes. Now Jason's in full control and nobody can say shit to him.
They can't.
So but I had the kind of I was thinking about it. It was not how I am, but I understand where a lot of people are at. Right. And I got messages too. I shared them with you this morning about be like, oh, he could just, I know shit's tough for him right now. They saw that video and they think he's really angry.
By the way, it's not tough. My mom would pay for the classes. I would have to pay this much money to go get the course, and I would have to put in this much work to get the degree. Just to be clear, it's not a money problem. My mom would fully fund this.
I think it was more so like, oh, dude, I already walked. I already did all the 9 yards, and now you're telling me I got to go back to school and all this other stuff. So people, when they first interpreted that video, thought you were very angry, right? But they didn't understand that you were actually happy.
I'm ecstatic. Yeah.
You're ecstatic.
Yeah.
You feel this like wave of salvation. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to viewing school, when it comes to viewing all these things, especially with just the general education system, they hold the presumption that school is the path. Right. They hold the presumption that it's either this way or no way. And I think it's because, like I was saying before, I was having these thoughts, and I was just like, I was thinking about it from like their perspective, and even part of like my perspective too, just based on like my conditioning. I was just like, oh, dude, you just go back, get the degree. He's right there. Just do it. You know what I mean? But there's this, just what came to mind. There's this thing called the sinking ship fallacy, right? And it's just like the boat's going down, and you're already so far in. You're like, fuck it, dude. I'm already super far in. I might as well go all the way. Right. That's the fallacy. Right. Because that boat is sinking, right? if you had the opportunity to get off the boat, get on a life raft, and save your life, you would fucking do it. And so just like that kind of example with you, you've already gone literally 99 point something %.
Yeah.
But that based on your own personal goals, based on your own personal standards, based on your own personal experience,
Yeah.
that life raft is coming around. And you were like, even before, you were like, oh, man, I don't want to pay this $1 to get the diploma. I don't want to do this because I understand that if I have this story, like you alluded to before, it will hold so much. It will be such a powerful message that so many people can listen to and learn from. And so I think now that, especially how it's happened in this way, this is an even better story that's going to impact way more people, especially because you haven't graduated. You're at 119 credits. Like, it doesn't get much better than that.
You're literally as close as you could possibly be.
And so, like you first asked, you were like, hey, my general thoughts on this. I'm fucking ecstatic for you, and I'm so happy. And I'm just like, because I understand you. I understand what your goals are. I get it. But I think a lot of people, like I was saying before, fall into this concrete, like I was saying before, this way or no way.
Right.
And it's this kind of general belief, and it's not even like a belief that they have. It's just been implanted in them, and they really haven't thought for themselves. And I think most people who are open-minded, most people who are willing to listen, such as your dad and other people around you that are just free thinkers in general, if you actually talk to them and they get past that kind of emotional bias, that emotional kind of, or even kind of conditioned belief that school is the right answer. You should go get your degree. You put in all this work. Like, why not? Right? They'll be able to hear you clearly and be able to truly understand where you're coming from. And like you said before, have the same conclusion that you had based on the reasons that you have.
So you think basically the reason why so many people are opposed to it is because of their conditioning?
Absolutely, bro. It's as simple as that.
It's really that.
Because to me, especially, but I mean, we went to college for 4 years.
Right.
No one wants to hear that their degree wasn't worth it, that you wasted 4 years of your life.
Right.
And it's not to say, like, if you're going to become a nursing major or if you're going to law school and you need the degree, like, that's not to say it wasn't worth it, right? And of course, you gained experience, and therefore you learned a lot of things, and it transformed who you are as an individual. Jason and I can both attest to that greatly. But I think a lot of times people will look at kind of like your situation and see you as this kind of lunatic. They'll see you as like a fucking conspiracy theorist.
Yeah,
and they'll be like, what is this guy doing? Like the black sheep, right?
100%.
And
that's it.
Especially when it comes to, I mean, you look at anything nowadays, when people see something out of the norm, they instantly jump to judgments and conclusions that are simply not true. And like you said before, to me, it's simply a matter of conditioning, and that's just from their parents, from society, from what they've experienced over these past 4 years. They value school, and they think that piece of paper is what everyone should do, and they don't think there's really any alternative path, even though they may consciously tell you, like, oh, yeah, people can go do this, but deep down inside, they don't believe it. But they're not a free thinker. But if they were a free thinker, meaning they could, deviate and start to think for themselves, they would most definitely come to your conclusion, because, in my opinion, it makes so much sense.
It's perfect sense. Dude, the reason why I know I'm winning and the reason why I know I will continue to win is because nobody understands me. Everybody disagrees with 90% of the things I do. Yeah. And that's why I know I'm going to win. It's that simple. Because the reason why 99% of people aren't winning is because they're not doing what the 1% of winners are doing. They're not out of the box. And the reason why is because they don't act that way. And that's fine. You don't need to act that way. You can act however you want to act. It's up to you. It's not like, I'm not telling you how you should live. I'm just telling you what I'm doing for me and the results that I'm getting from it, or lack thereof. It's that simple.
You know what's really interesting? I think, because people will watch that, and I know they're going to feel some kind of way about it.
Of course.
And they'll be like, they'll be watching you, and then they'll look for reasons for why they're doing better in life.
Yeah.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's this kind of deep down, it's this egoic kind of, I want to say jealousy, but knowing what they could have done.
Right.
And because you, and I believe myself, are living true to who we are.
Right.
And we're not afraid to deviate from the mold. We're not afraid to do these things. And I think a lot of people see that, and they'll kind of, especially when we bring it up with them, develop a negative kind of taste for what we're doing. And they won't have a very high opinion of what we're doing. And especially when it comes to just pursuing your own path, pursuing your own goals, I think a lot of times people will kind of, like I was saying before, fall back on their own values and fall back on what they already believed before. And it's just this kind of spiral cycle where they can't actually be happy for other people. Because, okay, this is what I wanted to say. Because if they were truly happy about what they were doing, they were, maybe they were in cybersecurity, maybe they're in nursing, maybe they're doing their own thing.
Right.
If they have no complaints, because if they have a complaint, what they're doing right now isn't good enough.
Right.
And if they look at someone like you or me or really anybody that's living true to who they are, and they feel some kind of way about it, that says something about themselves. And oftentimes, when at least I see it, I feel for these people.
Right.
Because I saw this earlier today, and it was, I forget who it was. It was this rubber band analogy, and pretty much the guy was like, this is you on one hand, and this is your family on the other. And so he connected the rubber bands.
Patrick and David.
I think so, yeah. Have you seen this before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the guy pulls the rubber band, and he's like, this is you chasing your dreams, your family's right here, and you want to do it, you want to chase your dreams, but then your family, who is like, nah, you're not going to pursue these dreams. You're going to stay where you are. We're not those kind of people. Pull you back in.
Right.
And then he pulls out another rubber band, and he does it with his friends, right? And then another rubber band does it with his partner. And then he was just like, what you have to do is you have to break away from this pull that is bringing you down to what, for instance, your parents want, society wants, your friends want, and you have to break free of it. And he's like, and then he breaks the rubber band, right? By the person chasing their dreams, chasing what they actually want to do in life. And he's like, fuck, man, that hurt. And he's like, shit. And he's like, but you got to go through it. And then he pulls out 30 rubber bands and he puts it around both fingers, and he can barely move them apart. He's just like, you got to do it one at a time. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a long time, and you're not going to like it, and you're going to feel the need and the pressure to conform to what they're doing. But at the end of the day, what is worth more? What your parents want you to do and be miserable, or your own life and what you genuinely care about versus your parents in the short term being pissed off and angry at you compared to you in 5 years from now when you're reaping the benefits of you following your own path and doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It's super obvious. I think the part that bums me out is the knowing inherently in my chest, I can feel it, especially after this whole situation, that it's going to be a lonely path.
Yeah, 100%. At least for now, but I'll be there with you, man.
Of course. Yeah. And that was one of the first things I thought about when you were telling the story. I was like, damn, bro, grateful to have you around. Yeah,
vice versa.
Because it's fucking difficult, especially as a young kid.
It's only going to get more difficult, too.
And that's the sad reality. The hard part is, we're college kids. We're meant to be around big groups of friends, hang out, have fun, shoot the shit. We're just not wired that way. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah. But that's why you need people around you that you can vibe with, that you do understand are on the same wavelength as you, that are wired the same way. Once you get around those people, it's over. Yeah. You're off to the fucking races. But if you don't get around them, you're going to stay right there the whole time.
Fuck, man. Like, when he pulled out the 30 rubber bands,
yeah,
I was like, oh, my God, that is so true. And he was saying how all these people have power over you. And I thought about that a lot. Yeah. But we've talked about this a while ago, and Alex Hormozy talks about it a lot. That's ultimately your choice.
Right.
And it's just the conditioning you have. It makes you feel like you don't have any choice.
Right.
It makes you feel so suffocated. It makes you feel like, fuck, dude, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
Mom, dad, brother, sister, partner, society, family, or friends hate me because of what I'm doing.
Right.
And you feel so isolated. You don't have anybody in your life that's reconfirming your own values. You don't have anybody in your life that's believing in you. And like we said that before, it's essential to help you along your path. Just having one person believe in you. Yeah. But for people that don't believe in you at all, it's like, it's a really, really tough path.
It's hard.
And just, I have a lot of respect for people that, because I know, like, we've both got it pretty, you more so than me, but we both have it pretty rough right now when it comes to that, talking about that with friends, family. There's very few select people we can genuinely talk about that with, and they're genuinely happy for us and 100%. Genuinely believe in us. But for people that are steeps below, they've already completed the degree, they've already gotten the job, they've already have all these investments, maybe they have a girlfriend, maybe they're getting a house, maybe they have kids already, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're paying student loan debt, all this crap. And I look at that, and their family is so happy that they're living the life that they've always wanted them to live, but they are fucking miserable inside. I look at that, and I'm grateful for the spot that I'm in, because I have none of those bonds on me. But I look at someone like that, and it's because to me, that person externally is in such a quote-unquote great spot, right? Yeah. Maybe because, they minus the student loan debt or whatever, they have got pretty much everything worked out. They've got all the societal boxes checked out. But what's left? Their happiness or others being happy? Right. And it's like, what's worth more, man?
100%. Chris Williamson talked about a quote. He said, the rarer you are, the rarer it is to find people that think like you.
Yeah.
But that means the more successful you become, the less people you can relate to, which is exponentially makes it harder to find friends. Yeah. Literally. The more you become different, the less people want to interact with you. So it's this. You can interact with 99% of people when you're 99% of people.
Yeah.
But when you're 1%, you can only interact with that 1%.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like it sucks. It sucks because there's a lot of times where, and this was the biggest thing that I had to realize in the beginning of my self-improvement journey, for lack of a less fucking corny term, was that I just had to accept that I'm not going to interact with people socially as I used to. I can't anymore. I just can't. I can't hang out with the boys every single day anymore because the boys aren't on a good path. Just because I've known them for a long time doesn't mean I should still be hanging around these people that I know aren't doing the things with their lives that they should be, could be, or are living up to their potential. And if you're going to continue to spend time with those people, understand the price that you're paying. And I'm not saying you have to cut people off. I'm actually a proponent of not doing that. I don't think you need to just cut somebody off because they're not good for you anymore. I learned that the hard way. However, I do think you should learn when it's time to take a step back, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Occasionally, you might need to cut someone out, case dependent, but if you're going to keep these people around and you're going to be in proximity with them on a day-to-day basis, and they're sitting around smoking weed, playing video games, not doing shit with themselves, you think that's not affecting you? Really? You think it's not? Okay, tell me where you're at in life. Okay. Just answer those questions. If you're hanging around a kid that smokes weed all day and plays video games and doesn't do shit with himself, but you're super successful, let me know. I'd love to see what kind of lifestyle you're actually living. It just doesn't happen. You hear about it and you laugh because you understand there's a certain quality of life that you demand once you're at that level. And if you don't, you're going to sink right back down. Again, bringing it back to where I started this whole thing, you're going to have to accept, especially if you're an extrovert, if you're going on this path to live a higher quality life as an extrovert or somebody that wants to interact with people socially all the time, you're going to have to accept defeat in that area of life. It's really that simple. You're not going to be able to interact with people like you used to once you start doing your own thing, once you start making your life better, because most people aren't doing that. So hanging out with most people is going to fuck your shit up. So you got to stay solo. You got to hang around those 1, maybe 2 friends that have the same vision, that want the same lifestyle, that want that higher level of achievement in any area of life. Follow those people. Hang around those people a lot. But again, there's only so many hours a day where I can hang out with you. So then what? Settle for somebody else? No. Or do it and see what happens. But that's the thing I had to learn over the span of like 2.5 years is like, if you know your friends aren't good for you, fuck, it's the hardest thing in the world to take steps back and stop responding so much and stop hanging out with them on a day-to-day basis. I know it's really hard, but you have to decide what's harder. To me, what's harder is living with regret, knowing that I could have been a better version of myself, a way better version of myself if I had separated myself or at least taken a couple steps back from the people that I know were bringing me down, regardless of how long I've been boys with these guys. You got to know when it's time to take a step back. You don't have to cut people off. I'm a big proponent of loyalty. But if you know they're not good for you, it's that simple. They're not good for you. Period. Like if you started drinking hedonistically, quit the business, started doing stupid shit with your life, and I told you over and over and over again, Cal, you got to stop. Cal, you got to get your shit together. Hey, man, I love you, but we have to have this tough conversation over and over and over again. And you decide, no, you're going off the rails. Ciao. That's it. Bye. Someone else is going to fill that role. Like, I'll have to meet somebody else because it's not you anymore.
Yeah, you were talking about how it gets to a point when you're on your quote-unquote self-improvement journey and you have to sacrifice, quote-unquote, spending time with your friends in order to get to where you want to go. And I resonate with that hard, right? And when I say sacrifice, I don't mean like cutting your friends off, like you said, but drawing back on how much time you spend with them and things of that nature. Because, dude, really, like I was telling you about this trip, the trip that I went to in Montana. Like, dude, you're really like the only person I talk to. And people might interpret that, and that sounds really sad, you know. But, and, you know, I don't go out a lot. Right. I don't spend a lot of time with people over. I don't go out to parties, right? I live a very simple life. Yeah. Even though, you know, at times it can get very busy. You know, people will look at that and be like, damn, that's sad. But I feel
it's like, really? Is it sad?
So at peace. I feel so, and I have to remind myself of this because I definitely feel inclinations to reach out to people because we're social animals, we're social beings, and we need that aspect in our life.
Yeah.
But because I quote unquote unconsciously say no to so many things, I can remain so concentrated and remain so focused on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. I would love to spend time with more people. I would love to go out to these parties and like spend time with my family more and my boys more. But I know how I feel when I'm on the flip side of that coin. Yep. Because I'm in those situations and I'm like, fuck, dude, I should be at home editing, meditating, working on myself, working on the business. And I'm just like, I feel this kind of like giddy urge to be like, oh God, all right, when is this going to be over? Like, but it's
the worst feeling, bro.
But I'll be sitting at home and I'll just be editing for, you know, however long or working on myself. And I'm just like, oh man, I wonder what so-and-so's doing. You know, like, but I mean, this is just how I personally live my life. I don't, and maybe I should get better at this, like reaching out to people. It's definitely something I can improve upon, no doubt about it. But to me, it's such a great benefit because no one's knocking on my door, dude. Yeah. Completely peaceful. Right. And I love it, man. Yeah. I love how no one bothers me. Right. I love how I'm not getting text messages, Snapchats up the wazoo. Yeah. And I've chose that life. Right. And that's my own doing. And if you think that's sad, you think that's sad. And I even feel a little like, kind of like, oh, Cal, why are you saying this? It's going to be like embarrassing. I just want to be transparent.
That's it.
And
that's it, bro.
Yeah, man, I just generally speaking, there's going to come a point in time where if you really do want to improve your life, there's going to be sacrifices. And one of those sacrifices is you spending time with the people that you grew up with, the people that you love, and the people that you laugh with most.
That's it. Yeah, the ironic part is that you're happy and most of them aren't. Need I say more? Cal, you don't go out much. You don't have a lot of friends. You don't party and drink and smoke and do all this traditional stuff that most college kids are doing. Aren't you like lonely? Don't you want to hang out with people more often? You're happy as fuck. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Are any of you at peace? Or as close to at peace as Cal is? I know the answer. Who's winning? Again, like why you're defining life in this statistical how many drinks can you fucking pound in a night sort of manner.
Yeah.
It's just not for you.
Yeah.
Props to you for knowing that.
Yeah. And I think like, yeah, it's not to say like egoically I'm better than anybody else.
You
But
definitely are.
all right. Losers. No. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, especially when I'm like around campus, like, Cal, you know so many people. Like,
Yeah.
bro, listen, I don't know. Like, yeah, we're on a friendly basis, acquaintance basis. Dude,
Yeah.
none of these people know who I am.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
No
so
one,
with that.
like, I have, of the people I interact with,
Yeah.
right? And since I'm more of like vice versa, and I'm sure this is true with a lot of people that you like. We're very social guys, and we're very friendly,
Yeah.
right? And so we easily build relationships like that. But for me to authentically express myself in a kind of quote unquote deep manner of who I actually am, dude, that's like less than 1% of people I interact with.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, one of the biggest things I learned in college is that you can feel really fucking lonely in a room full of people.
Oh,
Because the second I started working on myself as hard as I possibly could, I couldn't relate to people the same. And I would be in a room full of 25 people all shooting the shit, and I would feel lonely as fuck. But why? Because I'm not in a room with 25 people that I can relate to on pretty much anything. Like one time, and again, I don't say this to blow smoke up my ass, but I know a lot of people on campus. And one time I was walking to class with one of my classmates, and I said hi to probably like 10 people on my way to class. I saw a lot of people that I knew, whatever. And she looked at me, she was like, wow, you're like really popular, huh? And I like, at first my ego grinned. I was like, no, I was like, no, not really, like to play it down. But then I was like, yeah, I know a lot of people, but they don't know me.
yeah.
And to me, that's the part that people really don't get. It's like, you can go to a party and have small talk with a bunch of people and kick it and relate to them on all this stuff. And I don't judge you for it, but you have no idea what I feel on a regular basis, because you assume that since a lot of people know my name on this college campus, small community, that would make me happy and make me feel significant. If anything, it did the opposite. I felt more lonely. I felt more disconnected. I felt like I had less people to relate to, because I'm in a sea full of students and people my age with the same urges and desires, and I just can't relate to them about pretty much anything. And that's the loneliest feeling in the world, when you're surrounded by so many people that you would think, based on the way they look and they sound and they seem, that you could relate to, but you just don't. And to me, that's ultra loneliness, because you're in a sea full of potential connections and you can't make fucking one of them. And it's like, why is that? But why is that the way that it is?
Yeah.
Wrapping it back to where we fucking started. It's because they don't think that way. And so when I don't get the fucking diploma, or I don't go get my 1-credit gym class to get the fucking degree that's oh so fucking magical and gonna change my life, they don't understand. And I'm fucking glad that they don't. And I'm glad that the only person that I'm in this podcast room is you, because I can't fucking have a conversation with them. And it's the same fucking reason why I don't understand the philosophy that I'm abiding by, which is why I'm not getting that stupid fucking piece of paper, and why you're going to look back and one of my personal editors is going to edit this clip and show you it on Instagram or TikTok or whatever the fuck the new social media platform is, because they're going to show you none of it fucking mattered. And the reason why I know that now is because I don't think like you. And I don't say that because I think I'm better than you. I say that because I want to help as many people as I want to help, and I'm going to reach the levels of success that I want to reach, and you're not. And that's fine. And I have empathy, and I'm going to do everything in my power to bring you there. But if you're going to actively try and push against me on that, then I'm going to actively push back until you know that my philosophy is bringing me to the places where I want to go, and I'm going to live the lifestyle that I want to live and be as happy as I can possibly be. And that's going to come from being a part of the group that can't relate to 99% of the students on campus. Be a part of the group where you say hi to so many people walking through, and everyone's like, oh my God, I love Cal. He's my favorite person ever. And you can look at them dead in the face and say, you don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
Period. Long story short, bro, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Crazy to think that I honestly would have paid the full education just to meet you in college.
Wow.
Like,
Dude,
seriously.
vice versa, man, for sure. Damn, bro. Much love, dude.
Love you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Stay handsome.